Okay, this is non-boring music theory talk 2 part 2. The first part, if you haven't seen it, it will be somewhere here and in the description. We were talking about the nature, the physics of sound. And now we'll continue that. Also, we'll talk about how we call all those sounds, how we name them. And in the third part, we will talk about one of those ways how you create a picture of sounds that you hear inside of your head, using what form, what how do you see this picture. And my way that I recommend is using steps. Okay, first let's go to the naming, to the branding of all those sounds. You see, there are a lot of sounds, all they them sound differently, yeah? Differently. So we have even more sounds there, and more there. We, we can call them using different names for each sound. For example, it could be poo, it could be me, it could be be, it could be it could be blam blam blam, it could be like we call it like, this one we call like, this one we call one, and etc. We can call it whatever, but if there are more than here on this keyboard there are 87 sounds, but we can make keyboard with much more keys, so it will be almost impossible for a regular person to learn all those names. We chosen a different way. Now we'll see. Going back to this nature of sound, let's see. These are sounds that are in some way looks very familiar. You see two black keys here, three black keys here, 2 3 2 3. So there is definitely a period from here to here, or from here to here, yes, or from here to here, because then it goes the same, you see. So why is that? Let's remember how we were seeing, we were looking at that guitar and at that string that had waves inside of it. It were different waves in the same time. Do you remember? So this, if we say that this is the bass sound of that wave, like this one, chick chick. So this is a sound of half of that wave. Let's say this chick chick. So this half sound. Do you remember? It was there already inside of this sound. This sound was inside of this sound. So when we this one and we add this one, I will sing it. Let me sing it. I sing this one, and somehow it's connected very well with this one. Do you hear it? I sing this one. This is the same, and it's already there. Do you hear it? I think you should hear it. This one, it's the next part of the wave. When you see these halves, then you see these thirds, one third, another third, and then third. Sorry, I cannot show it very well. So this, but in the previous video we have seen all that with the string. So this is a sound that we hear from 1/3 of that string. This is the sound that we hear from 1/4 of that string, so quarter. Then it goes this one, it's 5th, 6th, 7th is somewhere here, and this is 8th, or you can see it's the same. Yeah, you see? In some way periodically it's the same. And we know that all of those sounds and this one were inside of this main first one, because all of them are overtones, yeah. And when we were looking on that string, we've seen that naturally it's there inside of this one, all this. So what we do now, we start to move those sounds, because if these sounds are so close to each other, we can hear them like very connected sounds, very well. They sound together very well. They are like brothers or even twins. But yeah, they are different, but they are so close. So we, instead of calling them each sound in a different way, we start to call this and this one in the same way. This is C and this is C, or this is in Latin system it's Do and this is Do. In English it's C and C. So let's go on. These two, all those couples, those pairs, we call the same names. So that means that this one also and this one also are C, 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 C. You see? Those are 4 C's. You see? And if we can count, we name them, we call them the same way. So in some way we can move all them, like from for example this we will call G, and why cannot we move it here? Yeah, we definitely can move it here, because this one is also G. This one is the bass for this one, yeah? So they are also very well connected. You hear? So instead of having this G here, we can move it here, and let's make a collection of all the sounds. Let's move all of them here. So when we have this one, we already had it here and here, but this one that comes from 1/5, I like this one. Let's move it here. We call it E, or in Latin Mi. Let's move it here first, and now let's move it here. So now we have already much more complicated, much more drawn, much more finished picture. Yeah, you see. Now let's count on. We have this one, we have this one, and we continue our trip, and we collect all those sounds together. And finally, what we will have, it's like this picture, or this. If we go deeper, it's not exactly like this, and there are a lot of nuances, but we will not go deeper right now. Okay, so let's say we have this system. So we have all this collection inside of one period. We will call this period octava. Let's move here. You will see here better. So we have these sounds, and you see that there are 7 white notes, 5 black ones, keys, and then it goes the same like it was the first one, C, as we know. So let's name each one of these white keys. First of all, let's use Latin system. It's Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do. The same names we use in French, in Spanish, in Russian, also Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do. So that system is more classical, and you need to know that names. But in English, this system is more like North American. We call notes like this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and that was C again. So you see that A is here. So if we start to count from here, it will be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A again. But we count from this one because this is the main one for us. So this is C, or when we call it in Latin, it's Do. Okay, and this we call octava, and we know that those notes or those notes, these notes or these notes, they are the same. They are different, but we call them the same. Okay, that's how we call them. But we still have these notes. Definitely, we could do another system, and there are definitely system. For example, guitar, you don't have this black white. You just have frets going one after another, and like this, and you just move from here to here to here to here without moving up or going down or straight. You just go like this. So let's say they're all those black ones made like white ones. So everything is like on a ruler. But here we have this system, and it's very, very cool. You will understand later. So we call those 5 sounds like this. This was, as you remember, C. So this we call C sharp. This was D. These we call D sharp. But also for those, the same notes, the same sounds, we can call them the different names. And this one we can call not only C sharp, that means C that we just moved above, we moved it to more higher note, yeah, more higher sound. So this is D. So this is D flat. We can call this C sharp or D flat. So we move it from here down or from here up. C sharp or D flat. The same sound, different names. This one will be D sharp or E flat. This with these two ones, we don't have any kind of black key here. And what we should do, this is E, this is F. So we will explain that a little bit later, but this one we can call sometimes E sharp. So E sharp. Even this one is F. It has its own name, but sometimes we can call it. Sometimes it's more useful for us to call it E sharp. And for this, sometimes for this E, we can call it sometimes F flat. But let's go on. This is F sharp or G flat. This is G sharp or A flat. And this one is A sharp or B flat. Okay? So this Do, this C, we can call B sharp sometimes. And this B, we can call C flat sometimes. Now we have all those names. And finally, we can move on to the steps way of seeing music. That's very, very interesting and important topic for me. Let's go. You can see, you can have this picture inside of your head in very different manners. For example, my teacher, one of my professors, he played piano, and he still plays piano. He's alive. So he said to me that he sees the music inside of his head with the lamps on some keys. So some keys are flashing, or he sees them like a lamp inside of this key. So for example, like this one. For example, we play this, and he knows that those are correct notes, and this one is or this one they are incorrect. So he see a lamp inside of this one is flashing, this one, etc. But all others one are gray and in the dark. That's one of the ways. Another one, definitely you understand it. It's about sheet music. When you have those 5 lines, I don't do it very well, like this, and you put your notes between the lines or on the line, and you can also like see all those pictures inside of your head with these lines. Or there are different, much more different ways. For example, there is a way that we're using by famous composers. They associated with each frequencies, each sound frequency, they associated some color. So they, for each note, they, or for each key, they had their own color, and there are much more different systems. But what we will use, what we will talk about, is a system that is based on steps. What are those steps? It's like stairs, yeah. So it's, we are always on the first step. The first step could be whatever. So let's say for the first example, to understand all this, we will choose this basic C or do, sound do note step. This is the first step. Then this one is the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and this one eighth, or octava. We call it octava. I usually use this, or octave in English. But if we have those steps, we also have some distance between these steps. For example, this step, first and second. Between them, we have this black one, and as I told you, they could be not black one. It's just some sound between these two ones. So we have 1 and 2. We call this very small distance like half tone or semitone. And all those half tones or semitones are equal here on this piano or on other instrument that is inside of is based on European music tradition or North American music tradition. So we have all those same half tones, and we have steps, and between some steps in this, for example, if we take this scale, we call it scale, we have between first and second steps, we have one tone, two half tones. One semitone, another semitone. Together it's one tone. Here it's also one tone. But here we can see it's only half a tone. Yeah, there is no black one, and there is half a tone. So when we know how many steps and which steps we use, and we also know what distance we have between them, we have the whole picture. Now with this picture we can move on, and without even naming notes, we can just make the same melody like we had here. If we know, like it was, for example, so it was third, we count steps, third, fifth, first, second, third. So we just move whatever. For example, here we start here, but that was third, fifth, first, second, third. Okay, let's move here. It's already a bit more complicated, but it's the same. Third, fifth, first, second, third. The only change is this one. Why we have this one? It's very easy to explain. We have this is first. before we had this one as a first, but now we moved. Now we have this one, D, as a first, okay? So we go to the third one. This is the first, the second. And what about the third? We should have third here, but it should be one tone between those ones. But we cannot have one tone here because it's only half a tone. So we need to go half a tone upper, and this becomes our third instead of this. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 3. You see? So it was 1, 2, 3, a tone and a tone, and here it's the same: 1, 2, 3, a tone and another tone. And now we have the same scale and the same melody. And here it was. And if we go to some different one, we'll do the same. We'll find those steps. Let's say we start from, not start, but our main step is here. Our main note is this one. So we just need to find all those steps. So the second, it's, let's say it's Fa, F sharp. So second will be G, but G sharp because we need one tone. Then A, but A sharp. But we don't, when I'm inside of my head, I don't count with these names, A sharp, or Do, Si, La. I don't use them. I just use steps. Yeah, I put some time to learn the music with steps, but after I just use the same names. First, second, third. So now we have tone, another tone. Now we need to have half a tone. It was Fa, Sol, La, Si, or F, G, A, B. So F sharp, J sharp. Sorry, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and now B, normal B, it's good. And now C sharp. So we have 4 of fifth, 4 of 5 with black keys, with sharps. And our melody is absolutely the same. Third, 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 fifth, first, second, third. So for me, it's nothing changed. That's how you can see music using steps. But another very important thing, we were talking about scale, or a little bit about melody, but also we have to talk about chord. It's about 2 main chords, major and minor chords, because we also, when we start to count chords with steps, it makes harmony so easy to remember and to understand. And all those connections inside harmony, inside of one chord and inside the whole harmony that has a lot of chords and connections between them. So let's see. This is, as we already know, this is major scale. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, first, and one tone, half tone, one tone, half a tone. So now let's see what's that. This is major chord, major chord, or major triad, and that's first, third, and fifth. Do you remember we had them as a very natural sounds over tones, not so high ones that we don't hear, but the one of the main ones. So this is major chord, and when I remember this one, or more complicated chords like this one, for example, or this one, or let's say this one, let's say this one, or this one, like it's very complicated. What I see here, it's not the notes, it's the steps. This is still major chord because we have this major third, because this will be minor third. We'll talk about it a little bit later. This is major third. We change this fifth to this one. It's diminished fifth. We had this sixth. We have this seventh, and all this is still major chord for me. That based on this. but it's still the same chord with a lot of colors for me, and I count it with steps, and there is no any kind of problem for me to count. It's like major 11th, sharp 11th, 6th, 7th, or 13th, 7th, major 7th. Very easy. So this is that system that I was talking about. Let's move on with the minor. So we have that major scale, that major chord, but now let's move on what happened if we want to build a minor scale or a minor chord. The main difference is this with this third changes. This is E, and this is E flat. And if we start using this one instead of this one, that becomes minor. So the first we take the same one, just for this experiment, for the major and for the minor. The fifth will be the same. The difference is here. You see? Now, if we want to go with the whole scale, it goes like this: first, second, third, E flat, then the same F, G, like it was in the major scale, in a major scale, and now A flat, B flat, Do, C. Sorry, I always in my head I use, if I use notes there in Latin, so sometimes I mix them. So one more time: C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or octave. So the steps, we call them the same: first, second, third. But we know that for the minor we use the same step, but another, inside of this step we make this change. Okay, maybe now it looks a bit complicated, but later when you go on and on with learning those connections, you will find how useful this step system is. I really very recommend it for you to learn music using this, because using this system I can play whatever instrument I take it. Yeah, I will not, definitely will not have a good sound without practice, but after 5 or 10 minutes of like learning where the notes are, I can play a lot of melodies in instrument that I haven't seen before. Yeah, that would be not very good performance, but anyway, that's a good way to have your knowledge, to organize your knowledge, if that gives you this possibility to play easily an instrument that you haven't seen before, never ever. So these things were about steps. Maybe I forgot something. Write in the comments if you don't understand something. First, go to the first part and go to the beginning of this part and look it over and over. And if after the second or after third time you don't understand what I was talking about, please write me in comments your questions, and I will try to clarify in the next videos what I was talking about. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Adios. Ciao. Cacao.